I want to see how long you can do this. On that note, welcome.
Welcome to another exciting week of our daily magic.
That's right.
10. Well, we actually been on hiatus for about like 2 weeks or so, I think. But we had a scheduled guest who informed us a couple weeks ago that she wasn't going to be able to make it. And I completely didn't even come across that email. So I had to send apologies to her because we promoted her stuff for her coming. And then she said, wait, I'm not showing up. I was like, oh, cool. Totally fine. But
And thank you for your feedback. For those who have been in conversation with us, hi Robert, and others who've commented and said that you like our organic conversation. So much appreciated. I do too, as a matter of fact.
well, that's how it should be. The having this organic things in the moment, allowing the infinite possibilities and also that infinite energy to show up compared to let's have this schedule a certain way and fit everything in this box and we're going to cover these type of things to make sure we get this stuff across. It's like, yeah, man, like it's pretty cool. We can allow the flow to flow compared to having like a little dam or something trying to block it a certain way and stuff like that. It's like taking a dump. You don't focus on how to take a dump, you just do it. And there's different dumps. There's different dumps that you take in every moment. Not any dump is the same dump as before. Tell me, when have you taken the same dump before in your life?
I'm not commenting.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's pretty cool because we allow that conversation with our guests to just unravel the way it's supposed to unravel. And every single guest that we have, they love it.
Absolutely.
So we went on a little hiatus, which was,
My hiatus.
yeah. So discuss the hiatus that led you to have a hiatus for a little bit and what happened during your hiatus.
It was awesome and horrible at the same time. It was amazing to let go of control of my reality. Just like we were talking about the format of the show, and having like these structures and like how things are supposed to be. It was really good to be able to be in my body and to let what needed to happen just happen. And to me, like today, that feels like freedom. It feels like freedom in my body in a lot of different ways. And it's definitely not something that I could have planned. I'm going to feel freedom tomorrow in my body in this way. It's something that I get to allow, something that I get to allow by letting go of control and simply being here and being present to what's going on right now. So it was a great hiatus. I appreciate the grace.
Anything else?
Not on that necessarily.
It's pretty cool what happens when you stop trying to like control what's happening in the moment. You actually become in a dualist or a non-dualistic dance with the moment and being with the moment, and you get to discover what's already there once you actually get through all the layers you got to get through. That freedom that's always there for us and always open and willing for us, and that grace like you mentioned, we just got to slow down a little bit and be able to go
Slow
there.
down a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think I went from like 110 miles per hour to like 2.
Why do you go 110, or why did you go 110 miles an hour?
Because I didn't think that, I had this underlying belief that it wasn't safe to be here. Like I felt that there were all of these things that I needed to figure out or handle or pay attention to other than the present moment. And that was calling my attention, like in 110, at least 110 different ways. And I got to learn how, in those moments, how, how I get to be with all of those things, but not give them my energy. So, like, yeah, my mind may want to do what it wants to do, and that doesn't mean that I have to follow it. I get to follow something else, or I get to be with something else. I get to be in this moment and be here instead of with all of those things. So that was like a reflection of my reality where I was giving my energy to all of these external circumstances. And dare I say, even giving my power to external circumstances. So just to have that bit of awareness is I like it. I love it.
I'm sure it resonates with everybody, and also a lot of people who are still doing that type of stuff, in which giving your power so much to these external things. And in my perspective, is keeping yourself busy from being with yourself. Finding as many things as possible to distract yourself from really being with what really is here, type of thing. And usually, those things that you want externally is stuff or things that you can experience internally, but you have to just go through what you need to go through to
Are
be able.
those, I'm sorry, are those I statements?
Yeah,
Got it.
that's it from my perspective. So it's my perspective.
My perspective, you. My perspective, I.
It's my perspective. My rhymes with I say your perspective or that perspective is from my own experience. And yeah, from my own experience, that distraction, but also, and from observation, and it's clear as day, a lot of us, we distract ourselves from being with ourselves as much as possible. And we also distract ourselves so that way we don't have to feel this pain that's here no matter what. We all have, we all have, what's it called? We all have received some emotional pains from life. And what usually can happen from the limited mind aspect, our egoic structure, which is the ego, like I said, ego is our amigo. And the ego tries to protect us from not having to feel those pains again, type of thing. And what can happen is, in the event or in that process of trying to avoid these things, we're also avoiding the infinite possibilities for what we actually really wanted out of life, the things we really want to experience in life, whatever it may be. But being able to actually slow down like you did, and I do it all the damn time. Slow down is pretty cool. Slow down and grow down. But to be able to actually be in that space and be with yourself and actually be with that pain and be okay with the pain, that's one thing that's put out there, that it's not okay to be upset. It's not okay to feel pain. You have to feel happy all the time. But what is unconditional happiness? Can you be happy with the fact that you're actually being with yourself and being in your pain as well? And there's so many conditions, external conditions, that we can potentially rely on. I have relied on before to make me feel happiness, to make me not have to feel this pain again, to give me Novocaine or medicine to not have to deal with those stuff. But then eventually your soul, especially us, like yourself, me, and tons of people out there who are doing some type of spiritual mindfulness practice in which you are connecting with yourself, or you also connecting to this divine higher power, whatever you want to call it. And in the process of that, and building that relationship with yourself, and of course simultaneously building a relationship with the that higher self, higher power, God, source, infinite creator that's within you. It's everything. Infinite is everything, and it also includes those parts of us. But what can happen, this catch 22, is I want to stay in as much as possible in this bliss and happiness and all this other stuff. And when these other stuffs are coming, nope, I don't want to deal with this. I want to deal with this. I want to be in this place or whatever. And eventually it gets to that that standpoint in which the pain is so much and it's really getting very intense and you get the standstill, but then we can continue to try to do the same patterns. And Kyle Cease mentioned it. Shout outs to him. He is the man. But he mentioned it so much in which, especially right now with this frequency and what's going on in this climate with us, the collective climate, the energy is being very intense right now, in which it's like a collective shadow work, collective healing that's going on with us, in which when we try to do what we normally would do before to distract ourselves from being with ourselves, it gets too intense that you can't even do it anymore, to the point that I can't fight this anymore, I can't take this anymore, and you surrender. And with that surrendering, you realize that that pain that you're trying to avoid is not even as painful as you thought in your mind. It's like a moment, or maybe a day, maybe a week or something, but it's just a moment that allows you to work through, learn more about yourself, be able to shift and do the forgiveness, to have the compassion for yourself, compassion for others, and you expand to this new place. And in this new place, you're no longer fighting yourself. You never not fighting with trying to fight with yourself to try to not go with that pain. You actually know that, oh wait, I can be with this because I'm even bigger than this pain that I was afraid of feeling.
So shifting back to my perspective, because that was amazing, Dell. Thank you. In this journey, I got to a place where I found that there were some wires that were crossed. Like, I had shared and stuff like that on Facebook about my exploration with allowing suffering and all of those things. And yeah, I got to realize, that it wasn't as bad as I was making it out to be. But then I got to this place, and I found this place when I was driving home. I was driving, and I had this feeling of happiness, but I started crying. And what I found out is that there was this place deep beneath those layers that happiness and love was just as painful. So I got to really explore, like, what actually is going on, that those two things are so intertwined in this interesting way. Why, not why, but just like allowing myself space to let in the happiness and the love and to be with the pain that came with that. And that brought up some really intense things for me to be with. And it was so worth it. So worth it. So much so that I'm just like fully accepting of that. And I feel a larger capacity to allow in this happiness and to allow in love, because I got to be with the wires that were crossed there. And the attention that I gave to it wasn't, anything to fix it or to uncross these wires. It's just like Del was saying, but to realize that I'm bigger than that situation, bigger than those feelings, bigger than those emotions, bigger than that story. And bonus, I found out that I'm also bigger than anything that I could ever want in this world.
Hmm. That's good perspective. Also, it's like those things that we want, we're also connected to it. It's also us. But the thing about it is, when you have to go in that inner journey to get to that place in which you get to see that, because every single thing, including us, we all came from this same voided space and came to creation into the form that we are in this world, and that includes all of our desires and everything else. And just being able to get into that knowingness and actually water that seed that's within us, It's like a little seed that's embedded in us, but we have to discover it and water it. But then you start to see that more, to start to see, like you say, you're bigger than all those things because you're infinite. It's just this one little thing or this little situation that we give so much power to that makes us powerless and think this thing or whatever it is more powerful than us. And that's bullshit. And the situations get intense, and because you're so focused on this one thing that your power energy is given away to this, and you feel that powerless, and this thing is more powerful than you, and it's like the feeding the boogeyman, and then you turn a light on, and it's like a little bug or something, like like the bugs that get into a flashlight, and it's like a giant. Ah! Silence. I can sit in silence all day.
Yeah.
As I see an orange bushy tail pop up.
Our furry friend.
Hellcat. For those you don't know, Hellcat is my kitty cat. I'm gonna see if he's gonna pop up and tell you guys hello. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. You can hear him. Let's see if he's gonna make his appearance. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Hopper. Things are the inner work, like going in with yourself and really just being, like you said, like that same with yourself and the happiness and allowing those things to show up, the emotions and all those things. Oh, here we go. Come on. Come here. But anyway, you start to see like what's really going on with you because you're observing yourself in this moment. You're no longer distracting yourself from actually being with yourself or distracting yourself in a way of being so fixated on something externally to happen or to be this with this external person or something to make you feel something or a certain way inside. You start to observe and start to see why you feel like you need this person or situation to be a certain way to feel a certain way. And it's pretty cool because like you build this relationship, this deep, intimate relationship with yourself, but also within that divine essence within you. And it's pretty cool because, like for myself, doing that, I start to see just how much I was relying on external things to make me feel a certain way. But then the catch 22, I was asked this question, like it doesn't make sense to me. It's like so something externally needs to happen for me to feel a certain way internally. How come I can't feel? There he goes. How come I can't feel this thing internally already without the need of having this external thing happen or external person to be a certain way for me to feel this certain way. And when I asked that question, it started to reveal for myself, and this is from like deep meditation practice, being with myself in the silence with no distractions and stuff like that. But then what it started to show me was just how conditioned I was from my previous experiences with relationships, my previous experience with conditional things from society, external things, and it's being pumped out there so much externally. Let's say like on TV and movies and things like this, like you complete me, and I'm talking about relationship or the validation. Just how much validation is important, external validation of having like a cool car, having lots of money, these statues, these social statues. And it's so funny, it's like pump these social statues, but not the soulful statue.
Hmm. I wonder if there is, or maybe it's something that can be created.
What do you mean?
You know, the bridge between the soulful and social. So
Yeah,
like social.
yeah, yeah. There is. There is that bridge. And that's the bridge that I'm discovering for myself and I'm building more with it. But what's happening for me now compared to before was I honestly don't really care about the social statues anymore as much as I did before. Obviously, there's a little part of me that still does, and I'm dealing with that now and working through it. But it wasn't so important to me before. Catfishing. It's not as important to me anymore because I started to go on this soul journey within myself to really discover myself, but also to be with myself and love myself and build this relationship. And now the most important relationship that I have is a relationship with my soul and building with that relationship with the infinite creator and allowing that to be nurtured and expand. And what's starting to happen is everything else is starting to revolve around that type of thing to the point of I'm stepping into all these different things the same way for the most part. Before I would feel like, oh, because I have all these different relationships in my life, a relationship as a son, as a brother, as a husband, as a father, as a friend, as whatever it is. And I felt like I needed to be a certain way every different one. So then I have all these different ways that I was being with this identity for these different types of roles. Compared to now, it's like, oh, this relationship with my soul is a relationship I can carry out in every single relationship that I have in every interaction. And it makes things more effortless and more powerful and also more like connecting because coming from this place, I'm actually able to connect with more deeper with people because I'm connecting deeper with myself first. It's pretty funny, like, and I don't really hear it out there because like if you really just ask, the question is like, what is the only relationship that you're in that's 24 hours a day? The relationship with yourself, 24 hours. It's just an illusion that these other relationships are more important than this 24-hour relationship. But what if like you nurture this one relationship, this 24-hour relationship that you have with yourself, and you really get to learn more about yourself and build this relationship? It affects every other relationship in those 24 hours. I know it's true because that's my experience. And that's what's been really transforming things. And also to the point like I don't need people anymore to be a certain way for me to feel comfortable or whatever it is says. It's like I'm good. And also it gives you the choice of being yourself because I'm giving myself the freedom to be myself even deeper. And the deeper I'm allowing myself to be myself, the more I can allow other people to be themselves even more and don't need to change them. That's unconditional freedom right there. Shout out to George Michael's Freedom. The reason I thought about that is because in my Facebook memories, the video came up with me singing George Michael's. What?
And by your definition of narcissist, freedom is the opposite.
What do you mean?
Seems like that last thing that you just said about being able to be with people and not having them change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was a video that I just did recently when I was like, how we all have that energy within us, the narcissistic energy, and it's one of those things that get put out there as, oh my God, it's bad. Oh, of course, any single thing could be morphed into a way that is detrimental and can cause harm to others out there, whatever energy it could be out there that we were just talking about before, how people believe so much in the Christian crusade that they were killing people based upon their beliefs. So that shows you one side of the equation. And then there's that same energy of Christianity. It's so beautiful with compassion and love for others and acceptance, and also just being there of service for each person, that energy of Christ. And the same thing with narcissism out there, trying to manipulate the reality to be, try to manipulate your reality or manipulate other people to be a certain way, so that way you feel comfortable, that way you don't have to feel your pain out there. And one of the most profound things for me was bringing awareness to that part of me, and that took time of just being with myself and observing it and observing how it's showing up, but also being able to observe that and see that other people were doing the same thing as well, and I also observe people doing the same thing. And it's totally fine, you have the right to do what you want to do. But when it's detrimental and it's causing harm to somebody, I personally feel like you should ask yourself, why am I doing this? But of course, a lot of people are not ready for that conversation, and that's totally fine as well. But for those of us who are doing this work, we really got to start asking ourselves that question, and also bring awareness to ourselves authentically, that or how we are expressing ourselves in those type of ways. It's not even just that. There's a lot of stuff out there that we may be doing and we just feel like we're not doing it.
And you're talking about like the concept of the crusade, where people are like killing each other based on their beliefs. There's also that like dynamic of people that are killing themselves based on their beliefs. And there's different names for it. And you could call it victimhood. You could call it, some people call it the Jesus complex. They're always being crucified or on the cross, and they put themselves there. So it seems like, when I think about it, like victimhood or whatever, and narcissists are not opposites. They're very much the same, and freedom is the opposite of both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then like those, even those words, narcissism or victimhood, they're just labels to what is happening with you. And then on the essence of those things is we all have pain within us from experiences, and we deal with our pains in different ways. Some people deal with their pain in a way of being a victim, of want to continue this pain and get validation for this pain, get sympathy for this pain, and that's all they want. They want to continue this because that fear of, oh my God, who am I if I actually do something about this and let this go?
And that it seems like that answer is always an unknown.
Oh yeah, the unknown. And that's the thing too, the fear of the unknown about anything. Going out there because you don't know what's can happen. Your mind. No, 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 no. Don't you? Okay, fine. He was like, hold on, let me stay out here so you get to chill. You can chill. Hopper's the bully.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the scary thing, letting go of the thing, letting go of what is known, what letting go what is known, what is comfortable for you, for the unknown of the possibilities of what can happen. You actually drop the story.
Yeah.
What's the potential of dropping the story? And the deeper you get with the relationship with yourself and the infinite creator, the more the story just naturally starts to drop anyway, because you'll start to see yourself as how the infinite creator sees you, as infinite. Your love, you're an expanded being, you're infinite. You're not, I mean, the story that you had was a part of your experience, but it doesn't define who you are fully. That is a part of you. But infinite means you can look at even those things from an infinite perspective. You can be able to look at it from the eyes of God, look at these situations. And also, there's a creator of all this stuff that no matter what you have done, it still loves you. It doesn't judge, it doesn't shame, it doesn't say your belief is wrong, it doesn't say my belief is more superior than you. Say, I accept you. I love you. It's okay. I'm here for you. You can talk to me about anything and I still love you. That's like a relationship like that. You set that as your foundation for your life. And that's what I am integrating as a foundation for my life. And it's been transformative and it continues to expand because there's even deeper you can go with it. You can stop whenever you want to stop as well, but it's an infinite pool that you get to swim in and it keeps going and going and going and going and going. And then the catch 22 is like, oh, wait, like that space, you are that space as well.
Right.
You know, it's a funny thing.
Yeah.
It'd be funny when I used to meditate. Like, okay, I want to have a conversation with God in my meditation. So then, in my conversation, in my mind, I'm having these conversations in my head, asking these questions and getting these answers. I'm like, wait, that's not. No, I'm waiting for God. But then this happened like a couple of weeks ago when I was sitting. It was like, hey, you know, this is all this is God at the same time going on. There's different levels in the elevator.
There's a phrase that I had heard uh, that goes, people are praying to a God that's not there.
Mm,
And I was like in 100% agreement with that because God is not there. God is here.
yeah, God is here. God is everywhere. God is within us as well. And the number one way of discovering Him is discovering yourself, or Him, her, God. I was like, wait a second. I'm not. See that condition right there? I was like, oh, let me correct that. Nope. God, that energy is formless. It's not a man, it's not a woman, but it could be whatever you want it to be as well. It could be the divine masculine, the divine feminine, whatever it is. It's still like that same as it's a part of that infinite energy. Like for me, I just like to call infinite creator because that infinite creator allows infinite creator to show up for me in the infinite ways it needs to show up for me to co-create together. Like when Hopper showed up, that was a co-creation. It's, what was the thing we was talking about, that like the co-creation and having that relationship with the divine creator. Here's one of like the most eye-opening things for me that happened is I don't need to do things a certain way to experience that relationship. That relationship is always here, is always available for me. I just have to just bring my awareness to what is to that relationship. before I would think like, oh, I gotta do this chant, or oh, I gotta make sure I'm sitting up correctly and keep my spine erect and keep my gaze focused and all this other stuff. I mean, it's perfect. It helps to like get the mind out of it for the most part of that. But even in that process for me, my mind comes in like, am I doing it correctly? Is this the right way of doing it? Oh man, what if I'm like 0.5 degrees off or whatever it may be? Am I not going to receive the information and stuff like that? And for myself, when I just like be in the moment and relax and just be here, and it's in the way of how I feel is relaxing for me, not to the point in which I'm going to like fall asleep and snore or whatever like that. And even if that happens, that's totally fine too. But this being here in the moment comfortably allows me to actually experience what is already. And also with that knowingness of like, I'm already here. So just being here in this moment allows me to experience what is already here.
Mm. I've also experienced just a lot of profound messages in my dreams. And what I've realized lately is that in my dreams, that if I pay close attention, like there's some really interesting things that are being conveyed.
Like what? Share an example.
Sure. So last night I was in a zombie apocalypse. This happens a lot. And I was being chased and, trying to like collect, like my family and like figure out like a plan for what we were going to do. And like the plan didn't go the way that we had expected. And then I'm being like chased out of like, I had to like figure out how to climb out of a window. Like there's just like all of these like obstacles and just precursor, note how it is that I was saying that I woke up feeling this morning like totally free. So during the dream, I realized, that all of the characters in my dream are me and that I got to be with, how I am with the energy of like of chasing or being chased, just like not being able to like ever rest, not being able to ever like have a solution or find that place where it's like over. And what I did was I created or co created that energy when I woke up. And I got to be with that. It was okay, that I would have these recurring dreams. And it wasn't like they weren't scary either. It's just, it felt like a lot of work. So just got to sit and be like, okay, well, what does the resolution of this feel like? And that's how I went into my day, just feeling free and noting when my mind may do that running and chasing thing.
Hmm. That's deep. Yeah, that's that's a profound step as well. Noticing when your mind does that, because that egoic part of us is always going to do that. The ego always finds something to overcome, something to accomplish, something. Oh, I have to be at war with, or I gotta figure something out. And when we can observe that, we have a choice. Do we want to allow that driver to drive? And some moments it's perfect to use that. It's like I gotta figure this out. Like for example, there's a bear in front of you. You gotta figure that shit out. Not gonna, oh, let me meditate and let me see what the best answer is gonna show up for me. By that time you're gonna be dead, probably. Or you might get humped by the bear. Like that gorilla movie. But yeah, it's great because it's a dance. And that part of us that needs that, it could be a great tool when integrated. There's moments where we need to figure stuff out, and there's moments when just allow things to unfold. Like this conversation. Don't need to figure out how to have this conversation. Just let this shit flow. Didn't have any papers of how we're gonna talk about this, but it was a pretty profound conversation that we had that allowed us to like just flow. And that's the part of really integrating and really start to get in tune and connect with your soul, because you realize that all aspects of you is useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the part for me right now. As you see on the television, I'm reading the Gospel of Thomas. Have you heard of that before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like profound. Like really integrating that part of me. I've been integrating that part of me. And for those of you who don't know, as a child, I was raised up in a Christian background, and I made a shift to spirituality, or I like to call it universal truth. But now I'm actually integrating and embodying universal truth, in which I can see the universal truth in everything. And this part of me now is I'm going back to this religion part of me aspect, this Christianity part, so that way I can actually be able to have conversations with people in this faith. But also I realize that there's parts of it that is profound, like Jesus' teachings, which is why I'm listening to the Gospel of Thomas to actually hear his parables. It's funny that he said before he even got into the teachings in this, he said those who can really, I like to say, understand what he's saying will not taste death. That's some like deep stuff.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation. So I'm having conversations with a couple people that I know that also got raised up in it, and they seen like the stuff that was egoic about it, and the stuff about it that is a universal truth that's bringing us together. And like for me, the simplest way of determining what is universal truth and what is egoic is things that bring us together collectively. If things don't bring us together collectively, then it's probably ego. Ego wants to be separate or superior.
Hmm. I mean, like, I've seen fear used to corral people,
Oh yeah.
like Walking Dead. They came together out of fear.
Did they, or like say, yo, like it could be fair. But also like realization, like, yo, like you're by yourself and there's like millions of zombies, you're probably gonna die. You can't see the zombies coming from everywhere. You can't watch, you can't be watching yourself 24 hours a day. That's co-creation, bringing community together. But it shows what happens when a community actually comes together for the same purpose. And in that aspect of survival.
Mm.
Imagine if a community came together for the intention of a unity consciousness expansion into our infinite nature of ourselves, and bring forth that, and also be able to bring that understanding to others as well, even if they are opposing to your beliefs. If you can actually be able to authentically hear somebody compassionately their beliefs and why they believe the stuff they believe.
I think this group is that.
Is it?
Potentially.
That's what our daily magic is. If it is, people start showing you magic more. I mean, like, yo.
I should drop the logo. Ta-da.
That was pretty cool. I want to do it again.
Two times. Uh-oh. Is he going for number 3? All right.
All right. And then hold on. There we go. I was like, wait, is this gonna keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping? Well, I thought at first I thought that was like a website because they www.
It's definitely a wow. There you have it. That's what we're co-creating. All of that.
That's pretty cool. You gotta get more sound effects. There goes one. That's it. Or that's it for that. Oh, that's a one conversation. I forgot to even ask. What do you think about the Mortal Kombat movie we watched on Friday? We was high as fuck watching it too. That was a good day. Matter of fact, I'm just saying. Went to all you can eat sushi.
Yeah.
Came back. Watched some Mortal Kombat.
That was great.
What do you think about the movie though?
I was just laughing at the questions that I asked.
Oh, that's funny. So, people, we were watching Mortal Kombat, and in the process of it, they were showing the characters in it, and then she decided to ask me. She was like, I wonder when they're gonna show E Honda. And I was like, I let that one slide. So later on in the movie, then she asked, oh, I wonder if this is going to be one with Colonel Giles in it. For my gamers out there, they're probably like, what?
Clearly, I had Super Nintendo before I had Sega Genesis. That was my jam.
Mortal Kombat was on Super Nintendo too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I still use that as an
Nope. See? No. Take accountability. Take that accountability for that. But I was like, it's like, for example, if we're playing the Super Mario game, and I was like, oh, I know it's Mario and Luigi in this. You think I could be Raphael or Donatello? Or I wonder if this is the board where you get the Sonic rings. That's pretty funny with that. But the movie was good. It was good for me. You know what happens with like movies that come from, let's say, like something original that was out there, and then they remake it in like a remade movie. A lot of people have expectations of this experience to be similar to the last one. So they're comparing this movie to a previous movie, which was great, and never taking into context how the climate was before, different times, then probably different producers, and of course different actors, different energy, different co-created energy in different movies. But when I heard that, I was pondering, like, Also, I can see how people, or I've seen, and also for myself, I have done comparing something to something before that experience. Relationships, jobs, food, all these different things. Even at the same restaurant, never really thought about that until now. Like, let's say I'm going to the same restaurant that I normally go to, like I always do, and get the same food that I had before. And I'm expecting this food to be the same as the food before. There's no way possible that's going to be the same as before. You know why? I mean, on externally, it looks like it's the same, but think about it. How's the person feeling that day compared to before? What's the climate of it? How much ingredients are they putting into it compared to before? Are they doing the same amount of ingredients as before? Probably not.
Well, there are other things that we consume too that are ingredients, like guilt. like whatever state we're in, that
Mm,
is an additional flavor to our food.
yeah. Well, there's still like even expectations in sex, expecting this sexual encounter to be the same as the other sexual encounter.
Mm. Can I go back to food for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, for instance, so Dell had found this meme that was hilarious about the ice cream cake Viennetta. And I forget exactly what the meme said, but it was like, this was the epitome of fancy. And I remember that my mom used to keep a Viennetta in the freezer, and there'd be like this much left, and it would be in there for like years. And I was so mad because I wanted it, but she was like, "This is for me. This is not for you." So when me and Dell went and got a Viennetta, well, it was
It
like
wasn't a
a
Viennetta.
close
It was a
brand.
yeah. It's like Frosted Flakes and like sugar corn chips. It's like they said like for the Frosted Flakes, Tony's like they're great, and then on the sugar corn chips like they aight.
So what I wanted to create for myself when I was eating it was to be back in that situation when I couldn't have it and to recreate that for myself. So I wanted to really like, generate this experience that was clearly not in the present moment. And you know what happened?
What?
It didn't really work out that way.
Yeah. But from that experience, did that part of you, that kid that was upset that you weren't able to get the Viennetta, did that part of you, that kid, feel like some sort of accomplishment or something to be able to have a Viennetta?
Actually got me aware to the fact that I actually like buying food more than I like eating it.
What?
There's a satisfaction for me in going shopping for it, and the actual like self-care mindset that I have for myself, like, oh, I'm doing this to care for either my inner child or to care for my body. Like, that's the mindset that I'm in when I go to buy food, and I love that. So it's like I got to have that experience while I was buying it. Now I, create a different experience when I'm eating it many times. So that, that experience differs.
That's a good explanation. That's pretty cool. The kid part of me be like, yeah, finally got that shit. Like the toy, like this championship belt. The kid part of me is very satisfied with that. Like, yeah, finally got that. Finally was able to get that. It's like me sticking it to the man. But it's also, like you said, the self-fulfilling thing, because it's also letting myself know that I can be able to get those things that I wanted before and was told no. I actually have opportunities to like receive those things that I want to receive. And it translates to life, being able to just give yourself that conviction that, oh wait, I can actually be able to get those things that maybe I wasn't able to get it at a time, but now I actually can be able to get it. And it could translate to so many other things into your life out there, because you could be able to accomplish those parts. And that's where I say that integrated ego can actually help you to be able to get those things.
And that, thanks for saying that. That's one of the things that I felt coming out of that dream. It's like there were all of these things that I wanted to accomplish. And I was like, oh, if I accomplish these things or I get these things, then I'm going to feel a certain way. Oh, once I, escape these zombies in this scenario, then everything's going to be fine. And like that was 100% not true. It just kept going and going and going and going. And then what I realized, when I woke up from the dream, is that I could cultivate the feeling of the resolution without having to do anything.
Mm.
So I didn't need to overcome. I didn't need to see what happened when we finally made it or, whatever. I just got to be there, here.
That's profound. and sit with that. Being able to be with the part that's already accomplished those things or whatever, and be with that compared to, oh my God, how am I going to figure this out? How do I get this thing? Because it's like a different space that you're in.
It was actually the opposite of that.
What?
Is that I realized I didn't need the accomplishment at all.
Mm. That's even deeper.
It's not like I was like, oh, let me go back to sleep and, and act out the ending of the dream in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was that I just got to be with the feeling of it already being done.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. That's what I was meaning by like it's already done and allowing, so let's say like already done type of thing, and then just following the breadcrumbs, the soul crumbs, follow the soul crumbs to actually get you probably even beyond that, because a lot of times we want to like get this goal or accomplishment out there, and it may not even be in our highest interest to get that. Maybe the universe is like, I have something even bigger for you. It's like you're thinking about this. Look how to get this $100,000 when I'm trying to bring you $1 billion type of thing.
Right. There was something that I think you were listening to, and I was listening to it as well, where it's like, well, what if you're playing a game with a universe, and what game are you playing, right? And a lot of times, even my previous answer was hide and seek. But I've, realized I'm not playing that game anymore because I already found what it was that I thought that I was looking for. Now I just get to play follow the leader.
Mm.
And to me, it was so much fun. And there's nothing missing from that game.
Yeah. And it's like you hear so many like the spiritual teachers out there say the same thing. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure that may work. Is it what if like just connecting to your soul and being your soul brings you everything that you want and then some? And then also you start to realize the stuff that you may have wanted in the moment, you don't really want that shit anymore. You just wanted more attention to yourself. Give yourself more attention, type of thing.
And playing that game not wanting anything is so much fun too.
Yeah. Just imagine living a life where you no longer want something or someone. You probably, or not probably, your boundaries will be more stronger because you're good.
Are you free with boundaries?
Huh?
Are you free with boundaries?
Yeah. And I meant like, let's say unconditional love and boundaries type of thing. Meaning like stuff you would put up with before to experience something that you felt like you wanted to experience. You no longer need to experience those things. So then you don't put up with whatever you put up with before for the hope of getting those things that you wanted.
Mm. So if you let go of the conditional relationship, oh, I'm putting up with this so that, then there are no boundaries.
Exactly. Boundless boundaries. But then also it's like, oh, wait, I really don't want, those situations. So, like, for example, and this is a great one because I heard it numerous times before, when a person says, like, oh, this person treats me like crap, but they got me those flowers that one day, type of thing. I'm putting up with this, or I'm putting up with this relationship or whatever because this person completes me, even though this person is like shitting on you, type of thing. But like those type of things out there, just because that one little flower moment made you feel appreciated and all this other stuff out there. But like, and I did a post about this today too, about the uh, about observation. So observing yourself, the meditation thing, being with yourself in silence, is the more you really start to observe yourself, the more you really start to see the truth of yourself and start to see the truth of your reality out there. And until like that, you start to really nurture that relationship with yourself, you're gonna be falling for the illusion of these external relationships to bring you something internally. So that was an example right there. It's like You know, if people have a conversation like, oh yeah, I do want to leave this person, but they got me those flowers at one time. So it's like your soul spoke, but then your ego spoke to keep you limited
Mm.
for the fear of the unknown.
What that brings up for me is like, well, then where is there space for what you're creating? It's like all of this space is taken up by looking at the problem and by overcoming it and all of that. Then
Mm-hmm.
what are you creating?
Creating more problems.
Essentially.
More problems to have more solutions to, or try to figure out more solutions to, or even just keep yourself in the endless loop of those, trying to figure stuff out or keep yourself limited and all these other things out there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go within yourself and expand more, you actually expand your quote unquote limitless.
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Shouts to Ryan Reynolds. He
Oh,
was
that
in
was
it.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, wasn't Ryan Reynolds in Limitless?
Oh gosh, guys, if you look this up and it's not Ryan Reynolds, just
It was either him. It was either him or was that dude from Remember the Titans. Limitless 2011. Oh shit, my bad. See, it's good that I checked it because somebody's gonna be like, wait a second. Nah, oh my bad, Bradley. It wasn't even the dude from whatchamacallit. It wasn't even the dude from, I was thinking the other guy, not Ryan Reynolds. What's that other guy from Remember the Titans? I forgot his name too.
It's all good.
But Bradley Cooper is Stu from Hangover. He's a legend.
On that note.
Shout out to Stu.
Thanks for being with us. Thanks for being here and contributing to this conversation, even though you may not be aware that you are.
What?
Catchphrase?
Oh, say magical motherfuckers.